Right. Anyway, right. So a man goes to the doctor's, and he goes, "I'm hard of hearing." And the doctor goes, "Describe the symptoms." And he goes, "Well, Homer's fat and bald, and Marge has got blue hair." FineCast episode 3. Let's go.
Fuck me. Get out of here.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna say no.
Welcome to the FineCast. We're going straight into it. Brap making a joke at my expense because I can only hear out of one ear.
Well, hang on.
Really
that wasn't targeted. That wasn't a target.
Brap, everything you do is targeted. You're always committing some kind of atrocity.
I mean, it is a little bit targeted, but you know what? We love you even if you can't hear out of one ear properly. So, what does it matter?
I did call him, before we started recording, I did call him Nosferatu, and I do often refer to him as having the skin tone of a newborn fish, so I am quite naughty, so no wonder he took it serious.
It's acceptable, I'll allow it, because I have no defence. Sunlight, I reflect sunlight, apparently.
I think when they were doing like DZ celebrities and what Primarks they all were, and I think pretty early on you got lumped with Conrad Kurtz, and in fairness, Sultan, you just went, it's fair enough, really.
yeah. Well, I had for a moment, they were like, oh, Sanguinius, and I was like, oh, he's a vampire, I'll go for it, I'm up for it. And then I was like, cool, I'm just going to stay quiet, because the minute you say you like something, they take it away. I didn't even have to say I liked it, they just took it away.
Yeah, because Sanguinius has got like a little bit of colour in his skin, hasn't he? He's got like signs of a little bit of blood
he's been drinking,
under the flesh, Whereas Conrad is just like ghostly pale. So
it means I'm basically just I was going to say a mentally challenged Batman, but isn't Batman already mentally challenged? He's got a lot of issues.
Emo Batman, basically.
He's a broken guy, yeah.
Daddy doesn't love me, I'm going to have to break some legs. Whereas real Batman is like, oh yeah, I've got another joke.
Oh no, he's got another one.
Not really.
Do you want to hear another joke? What does Batman's mum shout when it's time to go in for his tea?
Nothing. She's dead.
That's it, Oh, that's my favorite.
I love non-jokes.
That because, like, obviously the punchline is did a Batman. Because you like to say
another
one like that. How did you get Pikachu on a bus?
I don't know. How do you get Pikachu on a bus?
No animals on the bus at all times except for guide dogs.
It's just a non-joke. It just doesn't.
Because if you know the punchline, you Pokemon, right? You're expecting me to say that and go,
explaining it always makes it better.
And then we got it, mate. No animals on the bus.
That's done the opposite of laughter. That's caused more sadness than before the joke was told.
All right, I've got one
final
one.
We've already killed like the intro.
I've got one final
Go
one.
On.
Yeah.
Last night I dreamt I was eating a big marshmallow, and when I woke up, my granddad was dead.
Oh, God!
The funniest part of that was Chris.
It's so. That is one of the darkest jokes I've heard, because I love them jokes where it's like you think you know the punchline and it's like, no, we're going darker.
It's like no, Batman.
Yeah. There we go.
Did you guys hear about?
Here, boys?
Did you hear about those thieves that stole 20 cases of Red Bull from their supermarket? I don't know how they sleep at night.
Thanks, Chris, for bringing it back onto the straight and narrow with a normal joke after my pillow talk.
Anyway, my name's Warsmith Chris.
They're gonna have fucking heart palpitations.
We didn't even introduce ourselves. No one knows who we are, what we are.
I wasn't allowed to do a proper intro. Brap just went straight in with some symptoms joke.
All right.
I'm Sultan.
Yeah.
Also known as Sam. Who are you, Chris? Warsmith Chris.
I'm Warsmith Chris, also known as Warsmith Chris. And what are you?
We're here with Barpo Scallions.
Barp.
I'm Brap Scallion, also known as Brap Scallion, King of Jokes. Welcome along to the FineCast, everybody.
4 minutes in, we got there.
We got there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had to try out for the comedy clubs first. That was our sizzle reel for the comedy clubs, and now
that's failed. We're still here.
Yeah.
Hey lads.
Yeah.
You're never going to believe this. I'm going to show it on camera, then I'm going to explain it. But hang on. So Chris can see. Watch this.
All right.
Great for the audio listeners. This.
Yeah. Which is everyone, because we don't do this on video.
Look what came through in the post.
Oh, what's he got?
Porn?
Oh, wait.
With that flashlight?
What?
Oh.
Chris, listen to.
You know what? We're not even going to say what it is. I think we should just leave that.
Amazing. No,
that's not nice.
Because Sam can see it, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've done this.
I've got to tell everybody, Anna.
All right, go on then.
It is a US Airborne bolt action paratroopers regiment box. Now, I quite fancy bolt action. I think it's an interesting period of history to explore, and it could be an interesting game to play. But the models are dog shit. But these paratroopers, they look all right. You know, they look quite.
They're really good. Yeah.
Are they quite late the kit, Chris? Because you're into your bolt action, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the paratroopers, some of the airborne stuff is like newer, than the core original stuff. So yeah, it's just like any other place. If you look at Infinity and Games Workshop and any of the ones that have been around for a while, their older stuff is usually a little bit clunkier than the newer stuff as they get new technologies and better sculptors, and their sculptors learn what to do, and then you end up with lovely new models, don't you? And yeah, these are pretty good. So I've got the Polish Airborne.
Nice.
So we're all going to be different Airbornes at this rate. So the Polish Airborne is basically you get the British Airborne pack,
right? And
then you obviously paint their berets like a Leaven rust color. What is it? Rust grey color. Burgundy. And then you get like a special Polish Airborne command unit, and you know it's. I can't wait.
Can I play with my Tempestus Scions?
I feel like that's not really in the spirit of the game, is it?
To work, yeah. Or a plasma gun.
Can you imagine Sultan turning up and cheesing it and actually doing the rules? And he goes, strength, whatever. And you go, don't do that in bolt action. He goes, right, well, the laser guns, everyone's dead. And he's just like crushing your bolt action.
Wounds on twos. And also, you're not wearing body armor because it's the olden times.
It's the olden days.
Roll to wound dice. And he goes, well, I fucking do. And he's just like rolling it, swiping your bolt action models across
Wound on
the table.
twos. Yeah.
Everybody's dead. But yeah, these models look all right. I'm just looking on the box. 2016.
Yeah, you'll love it, mate.
Yeah, I wanted to try it because I like World War II history. I'm by no means an expert. I'm just a casual observer, not like some of the people that we know that are far too into it. But I think it's going to be an interesting game, and it's quite cheap, I'm led to believe. I think I need a couple more bits, and then I can have a little
you can basically play with what you got there.
Chris, with that game, is there... So... Can you take? Are there any models you wouldn't take? As in, like 40k as a specific. You know, some models are good, some models are bad. Bad according to their rules. They're not necessarily bad models.
Yeah.
But people don't usually take them because that's not their meta or whatever. Is that such a thing in bolt action, or is every unit useful?
I mean, not really. The way the game works is that everything is the same essentially. The only thing that you would do is you'd balance your game. Like, for example, if you took 2 tanks into a game and a bunch of infantry into a game against an all-infantry army with no anti-tank weapons, it's going to be a little bit annoying and dull. There's a couple of things. It's down to balance. There's no real like mega cheesy. Oh, this is a special German electro blaster. Megastructure. This is a Nazi megastructure.
Love a megastructure.
So you basically. You've got ratings for your soldiers, so they can be like veterans, like elites, and they can be regulars.
Does that mean they? I don't really know how the game works. Does that mean they like hit better, or
it means it's harder to wound them? Yeah, it's harder to wound them.
Okay, yeah, so they take cover better. Yeah.
So you can make an army of like
they don't stand up in a field trying to shoot me.
Exactly. Nice. Yeah. And that's more of a horde army. But we don't talk about the horde army in bolt action right now. Because it's too topical.
Yeah.
So
let's
moving swiftly on.
Move swiftly on.
So that actually, I kind of want to transfer this into more 40k realms because I'm not a bolt action guy, and this is more a 40k podcast. Though we like wargaming as a whole. Same question.
Yeah.
Good units and bad units, and I mean bad not as in like I think they're bad, just people in quotation marks bad units.
Yeah, because
40k. What are our thoughts on using in quotes bad units in a game of 40k?
I think the first thing we have to do is we have to establish what we're calling a bad unit, because it's very different between...
I'm losing my words.
Yeah, because casual players have got a very different idea of what a bad and a good unit is compared to a tournament player, right?
Here we go, a non-competitive unit. I think not everyone will know what that means.
I wanna bring to the table the term viable, because
that's the word I was looking for.
I think we talk about good and bad, and that's very subjective. But I want to talk about, and I think that's what we all want to talk about, the idea of the term viable for 40k.
Yeah. I lost my England for a bit. I couldn't remember the word.
So it's like, I kind of find like, so I've had a problem with the term viable for a long time, and what is good and
is it because you're not?
What's bad in 40k. As a human being, I am not viable.
Yeah, I'm not a viable human being.
Do not let this man reproduce. He's not viable.
Yeah,
society has told me that on multiple occasions that I am not a viable human, and it's upsetting. But what can you do? No, but like with 40k, right? All I ever in my little bubble of 40k, I am surrounded by lovely, soft people who like playing lovely, soft Warhammer. Like DZTV as a community, which I'm a big part of, is a narrative community. My local players that I play around me are all really relaxed. So in my community, when I see people talking about viable units, it drives me absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because what tournament, like, do they think... Like, when they say this isn't viable or we can't use that anymore or whatever, I'm like, bruv, you ain't going to be at the top table of the Las Vegas Open next week.
Yeah.
What does it matter?
What are you worried about? Yeah. Because the thing you got to understand going into this conversation, right, is that from a tournament player's perspective, what makes a non-viable unit usually comes down to the idea of points efficiency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a non-viable unit to a tournament player is a unit that is overcosted to the point where it doesn't perform the function that they need it specifically for in that tournament play to the standard that it should do for the points. The points efficiency comes into it. That, as a concept, is actually just completely nothing to do with meeting your mates down at the games club. And the best way to look at that is quite often inefficient points to a tournament player are things that are quite swingy, right? So something with the potential to do absolutely tons of damage, but not reliably,
so loses
points of efficiency to a tournament player. But that, to someone like us, like a narrative player, that's where you could absolutely dominate everyone in your local club if you're rolling hot that night, and that unit becomes an extremely powerful non-tournament unit. So I think that's where the lines start to blur, and people get a lot of their information from the internet and from really bad podcasts and stuff like that, right?
How could they?
That's
I think Chris is so right. Like, people go onto like competitive Reddit, or they go onto like the most poisonous one. And I've not been on Facebook for a year or two now. But like, people go on Facebook groups, Warhammer 40,000 Facebook groups, and I think they get swept up in all this theory hammer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does my head in, because like you're saying, Chris, they stop looking at stuff like D6. Competitive players hate D6 damage weapons.
Yeah.
Because it's like, could be 1, could be 6, and the points cost is built into that swinginess. They hate it. But I think it's like, they just sit there and they read these competitive posts and they read all this, and they bring it's a mindset thing that they bring into their more casual games, and it does my nut in, because I'm just like, like what? Oh, the term viable, like I really does my nut in, because I'm like, what
is that? Because your personal situation, as we've previously discussed.
But like, what do you actually mean? Do you mean that it's viable as in you can't paint it, you can't put it on the table? Because I've never played a Warhammer game where it matters so much that I win or lose that I am taking models based on their points efficiency.
Their viability, yeah.
I'll tell you that based on what you just said, the least viable unit, a Manta. How are you going to firstly afford that? And then it doesn't fit on the bloody table.
Yeah, but stylish though. Stylish. Though.
It is pretty stylish, yeah.
Mind you, this is a different...
My entire army's a Manta.
This is a different conversation, but if you turn up with a Manta, I have to then judge you on the fact that you've paid over £1,000 for a model, and I just think there is so much in this life that could be spent better than on a bloody Tau Manta.
Like clearing my credit card debts. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Chris, I was even going to say
So
like
you
a
could buy
nice chair or a holiday. I was going to say something like quite frivolous, but yeah, like even the basics of like utility bills.
Brap went straight to it. Like, to anyone who's not listening, so Brap sat on quite a nice desk chair. He just went out and said a chair. Like,
well, I was just thinking about
like something exciting, like a chair. All right, fucking wonderful, man. Also, if you're going to spend over $1,000, buy a Warlord Titan.
The Manta is the huge Tau ship, right?
No, if you're going to do it for 40k.
No, we've got different. Sultan, me and Chris are saying pay off your debts or buy something that'll impact your life in a positive way. You're going, listen, it has to be 40k.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you were to spend if you're like, I've got £1,000 and I'm going to spend it no matter what on 40k, don't buy a Manta, buy a Warlord Titan.
Yeah, we're saying don't do that.
Yeah, I know you're saying that, but I'm saying if you decided that's what you're going to do, don't buy a fucking Manta.
Buy it off a recast site as well.
Like, oh, Chris!
Go out there and buy it. If you're going to buy something silly from Forge World, get it from a recast.
I see the recasters. This recaster guy's got to you too.
Yeah. Oh, who's this? It's the police.
Oh no,
Chris.
Is that the police coming through the door?
FBI,
it's the police.
I don't own any recast Mantas, so I'm not worried.
They kicked your door in and have gone, you fucking nerd. Get in the van.
You do own a recaster though, don't you, Chris? He's like downstairs.
I've got one downstairs, but he's only just started working with Play-Doh, so it's going to be a while before he
the shittest recast you've ever seen. Missing arms, missing legs. I saw, right?
Just gives you a fucking blob. What's that, Guardsman?
Right, listen, right. I saw on Instagram. Right, so I follow the Deathcore of Krieg tag on Instagram, right? So I try and get inspiration and ideas. And right, I saw the shittest 3D prints. This guy, and honestly, they look like they were like low polygonal, like they look like PS1 Deathcore of Krieg.
Yeah, that's cool, like, man.
This guy was like, oh yeah, just printing off this army and well chuffed. And they had like, it was to the point where their arms weren't quite connecting to the bodies and stuff like that. It was so bad. He was like, oh, can't wait to paint up this horde. And I was just like,
Playmobil Krieg.
Dear. Oh dear.
Wasn't there a guy who turned up to a tournament with those really badly 3D printed Custodes vehicles? It was like they were mounted on like cardboard and they were like neon green 3D prints. No one saw that?
I didn't see it. I need to see it though.
There was a clause. Have a look for it. He found some loophole. And it was like everything's got to be on a base, everything's got to be made of plastic or some stupid shit like that. And he literally pushed it to the limits, and it is the worst, the horriblest thing I've seen. And the thing is, because it was all Custodes vehicles, it like rolled over people, and all these lovingly painted armies there getting crushed by these like knockoff 3D print Custodes vehicles. It was horrendous.
I'm looking for them now.
I bet they were viable, Chris. I bet they were fucking viable.
They were viable, yeah.
This is the whole right, and like you play Warhammer your way, right? And I'm gonna go down the middle. You play Warhammer your way. People play tournaments, blah blah blah. But the whole fucking spirit of the tournament scene, this toxic, any shit will do, 3-color minimum, viable bullshit. I fucking hate it. Warhammer is a stupid game of chance that you play with your mates. Don't be worrying about, power fists are good, now they're damage 2 instead of D3, much less swingy. All this theory hammer, edging, like just trying to get the right stats. It does my absolute stuffing head in, boys.
I'm going to put put an alternate side into this and see what Sultan thinks about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with. I think actually the tournament scene is only really represented by the worst of its kind, right? We only really, because we don't go to tournaments and stuff, we're only hearing about the edge cases where it's really horrible. And there's always going to be like a handful of dudes. I went to Confrontation years ago, back in the old world. Do you remember when you went outside and stuff and it was normal and you didn't pay £400 a month for electricity? Back then, I went to the Confrontation in Portsmouth, and actually most of the people there were awesome tournament players, and I can understand it. I can understand the excitement of trying to build an army that's not necessarily checking the viability of everything, but trying to build an army that competes with other armies when you're trying to make the toughest thing you can do. Right? There is an appeal to that it gets slightly blown out of proportion when it's copy paste off the internet, right? That's when I think the tournament scene starts to get a bit boring, because it's like the only way that you can play this army at the moment is to have 3 of these, 2 of these, 4 of these, 1 of these, and it's designed to be played the same way over and over again. I think there's probably a really cool kind of an excitement to trying to build maybe a new list and win a tournament with a list that hasn't been seen before. That sounds like a cool thing. So I'm not condemning the whole tournament scene.
I think the problem I have is because I'm not involved in the tournament scenes. These cool people, I don't get to experience, and I think you're probably right, Chris. I think the problem I have is that we are being shown this even by Games Workshop themselves as the way to play Warhammer and the shining beacon example. So it's giving these like edge cases, it's giving them fuel, and it's giving them the spotlight. And I suppose it's like when it was in 8th, I didn't have this problem because it wasn't constantly like trying to be force fed by the people making the models. It was a bit more like ITC, they're over in their corner, they could theory hammer it out and discuss with themselves, and it was all good. But these days it's impacting my game, do you know what I mean? And it's like
it was the merging of the ITC kind of style into the main rule set, wasn't it? That's kind of blurred the lines.
This whole idea of viable has become more and more in the parlance of even like casual players. And there's always going to be that, because it's like a sliding scale, like you're saying, Chris, right? There's tournament players who are narrative or try and take difficult lists and have fun with them and see how well they can do with a nonsense list. There's narrative players, quote unquote narrative players, or casual players that bring stuff that is a bit spicy and stuff like that. But I think it's just gone to the other side. And I hate that phrase viable, because whenever I see it, I go, it's all fucking viable.
I get that. It makes you feel sick, doesn't it?
Shit. Do you know what I like?
What do you like, Sultan?
Rough Riders.
Yeah!
What, do you mean like DMX, or do you mean like the Rough Riders of Attila?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah, where do you stand on this
one of my favourite moments. Oh, sorry, Chris, go on.
No, I was just asking you where you stand on this, because I don't want to push past those main points there, because we haven't really heard where you sit on the tournament/casual scale. Because I know you like a strong army, don't you?
It does, doesn't it?
I do like a strong army. Here's the thing. I like building a strong core of an army, and a strong core of an army often is a couple of units, not copy paste, but similar units. So Blood Angels are a great example. I always bring jump pack units with Blood Angels, because that's how they play, if you like. When
that's
you read through the rules, that's their thing. Yeah, all their stratagems are geared towards deep striking with jump packs, or moving with jump packs, or getting into combat and stuff like that. So I always bring a core of them. The bit I really enjoy is like, right, okay, I know I want to bring a core of them, so I'll bring like a jump pack librarian, I'll bring a smash captain, I'll bring some Vanguard vets and some sanguinary guard. Cool, that's my core, that's 1,000 points. What am I going to do for the other 1,000? That's the bit I enjoy. What am I going to do to make it nice and exciting for the rest?
And that's where you can kind of play around and have fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I love making lists around an idea. And usually that idea is either very narrative in nature for me, where like, I'm going to make an all-biker force, and today we're going to do an outrider mission. Or the idea is, I really want to try out this smashy combination of units. What do I bring around that to make it just not it's not just a horrible walkover list?
I think you've got a really... Yeah, sorry, Brap, Karen. We've got the delay thing, by the way, guys.
We're already into this idea of the viability's gone out of the window here. So Sultan does like strong lists. He likes strong combos, but he builds lists around ideas before he does like viability. So he will be like, right, I'm going to do a biker list, and he'll bring some stuff. It might have a few nice combos here and there, but he's not. It's a mindset thing where he's trying to build a list that he's.
And you got to remember with Sultan, he is in the lucky position that he gets to play on Winter's SEO a lot, right? And the thing about Winters is that he's a good Warhammer player.
Yep.
Despite what jokes might come out about him, he's kicked a lot of like arses of people who play very competitively. He's got a lot of experience with it, so you get that kind of fun but on the top of that, he's a very big fluffy narrative bunny, right? So
he can handle whatever I bring. I know
that's the thing, and I think Sultan gets to experience really the best of that 40k can offer, because you're not having to worry about did I bring an army because no one wants to turn up and play a game with their mates where they steamroll their mate and it looks like it just was really off match from the start. And you get that a lot with new armies when people see like Space Marines and take very sort of basic Space Marine armies that don't really have enough versatility to deal with more exciting armies. I'm not saying Space Marines are boring, but you know what I mean? Like, if they went up against New Tau or New Eldar, a very generic first Space Marine force is going to really struggle with that kind of thing. So you've kind of got this best of both worlds where both of you know the game well, both of you want to bring a narrative, and both of you know how to tailor your lists to have a proper good punch up without it being a cut and paste meta list. So I guess that's where the happy medium is for everyone, because as much as it is a game of having fun with your mates, like you said earlier, Brap, and when we were talking about the viability and stuff, that you can have fun with your mates by having a good bit of healthy competition. But it's hard within the context of 40k, because 40k is not a very well balanced game within itself. So you kind of have to know your friends, and your friends have to know.
Yeah, it's not meant to be balanced either.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
It was never designed to be.
There's a social contract in there that you can have a chat and you can bring the right stuff. But this is what I'm talking about, is that this whole viable is just an arms race that just escalates. So I think you can bring strong lists, but you don't have to, like, this whole thing of, oh, this point's efficient or whatever. You can decide to have one of them dick kicking sessions with your mates if you have a chat about it and stuff like that. But it's just, I think the whole mindset of it being that's what Warhammer's about. I think that is quite. I think that's quite negative for the hobby in the long term. I think it's like I don't like that culture. Like, viable is just a long line in the words. It's the same when we get to, like, we discuss narrative versus competitive, like the misconstruence of that, where it's not narrative versus competitive, it's casual versus competitive. I think there's a few things in the hobby that are like stumbling blocks, and I think viable, that term and that whole mindset around it, I think it's like, I don't know, I think it's quite unhealthy. I think dick kicking sessions are great now and again, but I kind of think it's more, well, for me anyway, it's much more of a social game than it is a competitive game.
So do you think Games Workshop might be part of to blame for this, though? Because, like, playing devil's advocate here, let's look at some units that have been universally considered trash or garbage or unviable, right? So Kroot, before, I don't actually know if people have figured out a way to use Kroot yet, but Kroot in 8th edition Tau,
right?
You took them in big units. They were supposed to get into melee where they were better. They've got kind of weak guns and stuff, but they have god awful leadership. And basically, because they're so squishy, you don't have any armor. You could never. What they're designed for was something that could just not really happen. And as soon as they got hit a few times, because they're really weak leadership, they'd crumble and run away. And it was a unit that really didn't have a way to really play it well on the table, unless your opponent deliberately chose to allow all those Kroot to get into the place where they needed to be for that to happen. So, and that's just one of, there are other examples. There are things where it looks like Games Workshop have just kind of dropped the ball on the points cost versus what it can actually do based on what the kind of game that everyone plays when they play 40k. So, yeah, I mean, I think that kind of creates the first block in this viability case that we're discussing here. So what can we say when people are looking at this stuff and units really are not viable to even play? Like, you won't get a game if you play them. Where are we with that?
I think I'm going to completely go back on myself, but I'm also with purpose. Like, I think the semantics get interesting here, because I think on the other side of the coin of the term viability, if it's used how it actually should be, I think you're so right, Chris. Like, GW did really well with Kroot, because, like, they were, like you said, they were a complete waste of points. Even, like, fun casual players didn't take them because they just couldn't operate on the table. They didn't do anything. They weren't even a good screen. They weren't very good. But GW have made them viable, but not in a competitive sense, but in a fun on the table sense. And to GW's credit, I think they've done that with a lot of units in 9th edition, like with the 9th edition codexes. Like, I love, like, when we were getting the rules about Tau and the Kroot stuff came out, I don't know the exact thing of it, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. But the vibe is that you can take like loads of units of crew if you've got like a shaper, which is the HQ, right? You can take Kroot warriors, Kroot hounds, and maybe the Krootox, like the big beast.
I think Sultan's going to have to confirm this one.
Sultan can come in and confirm this, but they don't take up like slots in your army as long as you've got certain units.
Right.
Like you can take them as like a little mini army. So straight away, I think they've done a good job there, because you're not like, oh, this troop's choice could have been Fire Warriors, or this HQ could have been this instead. You get like a nice little 200-point Kroot army. They've got a little bit updated, better rules, so they're still not amazing, but they're really fun to play with. And I think GW have, like, in the true sense of the term viable, as in there's no feel bads and they can maybe do some cool stuff. I think GW is doing really good. And again, when we get to the competitive side, they're ruining it because they're using that word for like, well, how many wounds per minute does it put out? I don't know if that's a thing. For like wounds per minute, but like
it should be, yeah.
But like you can get units that are like really fun to play with on the table and aren't necessarily super strong, but they are viable in the true sense of the word, that they will actually do something on the table and have some kind of use. And I think that for me is sick. They're some of my favorite units. I love that the underdogs that just they surprise you and they do well on the table. You're like, I was expecting this, and
people are like, I've never seen people take those, and they kick my ass. Yeah.
I've so
Rough Riders.
Rough Riders.
We're gonna have to play Rough Riders Anthem. So I bet even Sultan doesn't even. Oh, it's Games Workshop. Nobody knows Rough Riders, the rap group, do they? Chris, do you know the rap group Rough Riders?
I don't know Rough Riders, mate. Sorry.
Oh my god, DMX is in them. So the problem is I can't make that joke because everyone goes, "Oh yes, the Rough Riders." Do we think that image on Warhammer Community is Rough Riders today?
No, it's a pineapple spearman. We talked about this.
There's a rumor engine thing. There's an article today that shows the picture of it's a spear with a grenade on it. Now, two things it could be. Number
Rough
one,
Riders.
What's the second thing? Could be Sultan.
We've
Riders.
We've got a soundboard. We've got a Sultan soundboard, and unfortunately, there's only one button that works, and it is
Rough Riders. There's also another button that works, and it's this one because I don't get to speak. Ooh.
Oh!
Rough
Riders. Oh, he's naughty, isn't he?
Rough Riders.
Somebody else said though it could be from the new Necromunda.
Nah.
Rough Riders.
Rough Riders.
Good talk. Good talk. Rough Riders it is. Are they going to be?
Absolutely not.
Are they going to be as racist as the old Rough Riders, or do you think they'll have toned it down?
More.
The problem is with models, right? Is you have this nostalgic attachment to them in the 90s when it was a bit more innocent and a bit less. We're in a bold new age now where everyone's sort of catered for and looked after and made to feel included, which I absolutely love. But I look at them and I go, "Oh, GW would like." Do you remember that?
I don't know. Yeah, they. I've got one. I've got one of the old models. Yeah, I think no, that's wrong. I mean. The Guard were supposed to represent loads of different human cultures from different areas. And what way to pay homage to a group of people that were very good at riding horses and fighting? You know, I don't know. It's harmless. It's not designed to poke fun at people, is it?
Did you like the old Redemptionists as well? Did you like them with the hoods?
Yeah. They remind me a lot of the.
This is dangerous.
Ghosts.
This is
ghosts. Yeah, they're ghosts, men.
Racist ghosts.
Chris's metal Citadel Museum of racist and questionable delights. It's just in his house.
That's all he has now. He doesn't have any other armies.
I might actually have those redemptions.
He collects Nighthorn and paints them white.
My racist ghosts.
Okay, now. I hope the Rough Riders.
Brap, let's just be quiet for a minute because,
of course,
Sultan didn't get to, because we're big lads who make lots of noise. Sultan didn't really get to pitch in on the viability thing there. So the floor's yours.
I don't care. Do what you want.
Oh,
I really don't. Honestly, viable is bullshit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get when people do the math hammer shit, but honestly, I look at that and it makes my head spin. So I don't really understand what people are saying. Like, I saw one the other day because Reddit for some reason was sending me notifications on my phone about the Blood Angels threads. And there was one like Vanguard vets with a lightning claw and storm shield, which personally don't like anyway. Sanguinary Guard and Death Company intercessors, and then regular Death Company Marines. And it was math hammering how many wounds they can put out. And I was like, why don't you just bring them all?
Yeah.
Like, that was what it was like. Sanguinary Guard aren't as good because they're 32 points each. And I'm like, yeah, but they're cool. Yeah. So like, for me, like I totally get if you are a hardcore tournament player and you want to win, and that's what you're aiming to do, absolutely. But if I'm going to take him to play Winters, I'm not going to stand there and say, well, statistically, Death Company are better, because he'll just be like, right, I'm turning off the camera, fuck off.
And I know I can say whatever I want. So if you are a hardcore tournament player, grow the fuck up and get a fucking life. Play Warhammer for fun, have some beers, have a good laugh, play chess. If you're that competitive, play chess. Stop playing toy soldiers and using it to boost your self-esteem. Grow up.
Touch your willy once in a while.
Like I'm being semi-serious. I think Sultan's right. Like, you've got like this is what I'm talking about. We get to this stage where it's like you're choosing units purely over theory hammer, and it becomes like a second job. Like you're just working out the bottom line, and if you want to bring Sanguinary Guard because they look cool, and you've just paid up a bunch of golden boys, then.
And it changes.
I already have 2 full-time jobs. I've got my actual job that I get paid for, and then I have to look after Winters. So
exactly.
I don't need another job of choosing an army based on numbers.
And it's going to change. And let me tell you something right now. When the meta changes for Vanguard veterans, and it's not the best option to have a Storm Shield and a single Lightning Claw, which just looks shite.
It looks
does everyone agree with me? Looks shite.
Looks
dog sword
shit.
And shield or sword and hammer. Happy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, shield and hammer.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I've done. For mine is I have put 4 of them have got twin lightning claws for my Vanguard vets.
Nice.
And the main guy has got a storm shield and a power sword, right? Completely fucked unit. This, people will be like,
the lightning claws are amazing.
You shouldn't mix that.
You still have a great time.
Yeah, and they'll be like, they're going to just die straight away in the battle because they don't have a storm shield. I'm like, yeah, but have you seen how fucking cool twin lightning claw Vanguard vets look? And then I've got my one dude in the front, like tanking the shots as they fly in.
I beat. This is again not to say tournament thing. Winters took his Death Guard tournament list against me, not the Deathwing. I've played that recently too with the Tau, but he took his prototype Death Guard one,
which is Blight
the
Lords,
nastiest list he can make. Blight Lords, everything. And my Vanguard vets tore it to shreds. And they don't have storm shields. They just had double lightning claws. Yeah. And when I was asked, by various people, why do you use both? And I was like, because more kill.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Your list, Blood Angels do. You know what your army does. Blood Angels, Winters like to say, rock list and thing. Rock list means you don't want to play the game, but there's a kill list. Tau do kill lists.
Yeah.
Blood Angels and Black Templars and shit and stuff like that do kill lists.
Fast
they kill everything
lists.
They touch, which is exactly the kind of game I want to play. I want to be moving quickly and killing shit.
Yeah.
I do not want to be standing there and rolling saves.
Yeah,
that's me.
No, because I've gone for 2 units of Vanguard vets, 2 units of Sanguinary Guard, 2 units of Death Company, and there's no real that they all overlap each other and stuff. But if you're playing Blood Angels, I want a big amount of scary, scrappy dudes,
Angry
right?
Mans.
Angry Mans, yeah. And I couldn't not have Death Company in there because that's amazing. They're amazing. And I don't want Death Company intercessors either. I want Flying Death Company. In fact, 5 of those Death Company came from you, Sultan.
Death Company.
You want the coolest shit, don't you? You want, even to the detriment of playing the game where you're having to look at data sheets for 1 million hours. Like my Vanguard vets, my first squad I ever made were two hammer and shield, 1 relic blade and shield, and 2 pairs of lightning claws. It's a mess, but it looks cool, and it's like this is me. This is cool. This is what I want, and I think that's what, to me, that is the crux of 40k. That's why everyone falls in love with it. That's why I think that's why most people love it, because it's cool. Like, you can get so excited about this will do this and this will do that. If it happens to be good, so be it. But fucking sword and board, not sword and board, claw and board. What's going on there?
Claw on board is bad, but going back to your little unit of vets there, right? So this is where viability is interesting.
Yeah,
in and out of a. So that would be considered a completely unviable unit. No one would take that in a tournament play, right? Because it's got mixed objectives, all those kind of stuff. There will be tons of casual games where that mix of guys will be able to do so much more on the table.
They take on everything.
Yeah. Because they can fight whatever they come up against.
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter that the hammers are not putting out as many attacks against horde units as if they were all lightning claws, and it doesn't matter that the lightning claws aren't putting out maximized strength attacks against armor. It will all still work.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people miss the fun of 40k, because it makes it not so guaranteed an outcome, right? You send 5 Thunderhammers against the vehicle's probably going to be pretty fucked up, if not dead, at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's like an 11 wound or a 14 wound vehicle or something like that.
Regular tank,
Yeah. It's going to kill it, but when you start mixing things up for fun, there's more chance it might come out with a wound left or 2 wounds left, and then something happens back, and it adds so much more. It makes it so much more dynamic a game, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is why I love the Deathwatch kill teams, like the GW made in the book. You know, you got like the Proteus, the Spectrus, or all that stuff, because they're so mixed, and for me that makes the unit have character.
Yeah.
So are they viable? There are definitely viable builds you can make if you want to take them to a tournament. People do take Deathwatch to tournaments, and there is definitely a way to do that. You know, you load up a squad with 5 Eliminators or 5 Bikes or whatever. And I will happily do that for 1 or 2 squads, because I like to play a strong game. But I absolutely will still have, like, my Indomitor kill team. Instead of having 5 Eradicators, I have a random Aggressor in there and a random Interceptor.
Me too. Yeah.
And then random other, just loads of weird things, like my Fortis ones. There's one with bikes, sure, but there's another one who's just got like a single Hellblaster and an extra dude with a grenade launcher for some reason, and I love it.
Sultan does have the full complement of Eradicators in his Aggressor kill.
No, there's only 3.
I've only got 3.
I've only got 3.
3 Eradicators, 2 Aggressors, and in my mind it's like, I'm thinking about the unit. I'm like, the 2 Aggressors are there with their flames. They're there if someone attacks them. They're like the defensive unit. Yeah. And there's reasons behind the units being built like that. The only time when I think, fuck it, is when you can get 5 Outriders. Like,
I love it.
Completely cheeky, fuck it. Have 5 Outriders.
Why is it better than White Scars, guys? Why is it better than White Scars?
Yeah.
I played a Deathwatch player in an event that Christopher ran. And I played against this guy, and because I had not seen Deathwatch that often, and because this guy had the mini marines, the firstborns, right, and he had the maddest loadouts, and this is what we're missing in the hobby due to this whole viability epidemic, right? Is that this lad had the shields, and they had like bolt guns as well. So they had like these.
Oh yeah.
They had like the cool bolt guns, and then there was like this weird heavy flamer, heavy bolter, like heavy.
Yeah, the Inferno.
Infernus heavy bolter.
And then there was like a sword that went through invulnerable saves.
Xenophage. Yeah.
All this mad shit that I'd never seen before, and he's running all this stuff, and I'm like, can they have bolt guns and shields? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, that's awesome. That's so cool.
They're breaches. Yeah. They're the ones they're guarding the heavy weapons. That's their job.
It's just like, there's all this cool stuff. It's like, Chris, with your towel that you're doing for Hobby Apocalypse, and Sultan as well, when you have missile bins and stuff like that, even if they're not that cool, there's just
they're cool as hell.
They're cool as hell, character that we're leaving out.
The fact they can pick them up and walk with them these days. Because back in the day, you had to once you'd moved, it was dead.
Right.
So, but now, like, I'm assuming, like, because they're towel and they're super advanced,
wheelie bin.
What you do is when you move, the bin disappears. And then when you next stop the unit, you can redeploy the bin.
Yeah.
And what it does, what I imagine it's doing is it's coming down from like a drop pod.
No. It's got little wheels on it.
It's like a wheelie bin now. It's a wheelie bin.
And they're wheeling it along. Yeah, definitely.
Or
it's really good.
It's a lad in there, like Metal Gear Solid, and the legs just appear from the bottom, and the bin picks up, and he just walks inside the bin. Where we're going, boss?
You know what the bins are? The bins are another subspecies of the Tau Empire, right? They're like
little bin creatures. We found them. Perfect.
From the planet Garmador.
Can you imagine the Tau, like the Tau Etherals going, we must find creatures to be subservient that must also fit inside the bins.
They must also have missiles in their heads, because you know that they're actually the bin. We'll just paint them the same colour.
There's just so much like scope and breadth, and there's so much cool stuff. I'm looking at on my table now, and there's a project I'm working on. I can't say anything about just yet, but it's like there's a kit, right, and there's loadout options to it that I never see, and I just think that's a really cool bit of that model, and I've never seen it. And how sad is it that I can only experience it when I've got it in my hand? I just wish we'd see like more breadth and scope in Warhammer. I love there's so many options, but we only see such a narrow corridor, and I think that's a lot to do with this whole idea of viability. And if that's the way you want to play, realistically, what do I care? Do you know what I mean? Like, and what do you care about my opinion? But I just think that we're leaving a lot of cool stuff on the table when
Internet
we do this.
Brap isn't real. He can't hurt you.
Guys, I've got an idea.
Go on.
So we started the cult of good enough, right?
Yeah, we did.
That was in the first episode, right? The cult of good enough. And there's been some feedback from people saying, you know what? I listened to the podcast and I was painting. I went, you know what? I'm done.
Nice.
That's good enough. The cult of good enough, right? Let's start a second cult called the cult of fuck it. It's cool.
The School of Mad Shit.
The School of Mad Shit. Yeah, I'm into that.
You having that?
Featuring the cult of good enough.
It's
the
like
cult of good enough and the School of Mad Shit. And that's where...
Oh, it's an academy. Let's charge £50 a month.
Yeah. Oh, $349 a year.
Learn how to play 40k, everybody. I'm a cunt.
Only if I can sell... Oh, Jesus. Only
He's
if
going
I can,
full on. He's going
only
to get
if
beat
I
up.
can sell metal
I don't give a
dice
fuck.
at £10 a dice. Then if we do that, then I'll...
Then you can chuck it at your opponent. It will fucking hurt.
Yeah. Or you
The
can
real
smash your own models with them.
The real question we've got to ask, Chris, is... Can we cut weight and get buff, or can Sultan swole up? Like, which are on the two ends of the scale? Which is the more likely to happen? I think we're gonna have to get Sultan some protein powders.
I think we're going to get a protein powder, yeah, and some Huel. So
Sultan eats Huel, I think.
I've had Huel before. Yeah, it's sometimes because I'm lazy. I'll have it for breakfast.
It is.
Can I just point out?
Bachelor chow.
This is the thing. Without promoting here, right? I have got 3 bags of Huel hot and savoury, right?
What?
Lunchtime? No, seriously, lunchtimes. Stop eating, like going to the sandwich van and getting a fucking sausage roll or
It's
whatever.
actually pretty good, isn't it?
You get yourself a bowl of Huel hot and savoury. Pour a bit of water. It's like a much healthier pot noodle, right? I'm big into it.
It is, yeah. That's literally what it is. It's a pot noodle, but it's not full of like shit.
Yeah, it's got actually a complete amount of nutrition. No, it's got all the nutrition you need in it. But I'm going to try. Let's see if I can lose some fucking weight, shall we, guys? So there you go.
I'm all for it, but like a good, mind you, this is a bit preachy, but like I cook chicken breasts and sweet potatoes and vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, I'm lazy. Lazy, mate.
Like little lunch boxes and then just eat.
That's why I need this, because I've tried that before, and I buy in all the fresh ingredients, stick it all in the fridge, and then the first night, me and my missus look at it and we're like, all right, so let's cook this. We'll do it. I cook something, and the next day you eat it, and it's like, oh, it's cold. It's not as good as if I like this food, but as a lunch, it's got a bit moist in there. And then the second day, it's like, okay, right, let's do it again. Also, let's fix it a bit.
I cannot believe I'm doing a podcast with 2 people that are actively into Bachelor Chow. This is mad.
Sure.
Also, like let's start a thing. Like Brap, you no longer have to say I'm not to be preachy, because you just are.
Yeah.
That's you. You're always fucking preachy.
Yeah, it's not.
Just you don't even try a lie to anyone. Do you?
I've actually
and
taken
then at the end we'll
side.
say sorry, Brap was being preachy.
We've had this chat, haven't we, Brap? Where I said to you, mate, don't say it. Don't put a caveat beforehand. Don't put a disclaimer beforehand. Just chase your bliss, bruv.
No offense, but fuck you and everything you stand for.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing, isn't it? He's like, not to be preachy, but here's a sermon.
It's hard because I've got very strong views, and in one hand, I want to sort of say live your life, but at the same time, I strongly believe that
you can't
you
do
should
it.
just do exactly what I say. To be honest,
yeah, he's authoritarian with it at heart. Yeah.
They're bossy boots, as you
I
call
can't
them.
help it because
I call him bossy boots. Yeah,
I want to say like, oh, you should. If tournament players should be allowed to. But what I'm really thinking is they should be put in a Tau dustbin and wheeled out. To be honest, but like
that's what it is. In the 41st millennium, they take all the tournament players and go, "You'll make a good smart missile system."
Yeah.
Straight in the dustbin. But
you can math hammer this missile to its target.
If you guys like Huel, I mean, maybe I'm being a bit. It doesn't look right. It looks like a bowl of sludge, and it feels like.
So do you, mate.
I mean, I'm more of like
still like you.
I'm more like a bin bag of sludge in a tracksuit.
It's a bin bag full of Huel.
It's just the downfall of society when
this week Brap admits what he is.
When we've just gone, we should just eat sludge. It's like they've told us in science fiction
Isn't
films.
that what porridge is?
But they've told us in science fiction films you'll all be eating sludge and you'll all just fucking live with it. And we're already there, and you guys are going, bring on the sludge.
Yeah, but it's cheese, mac and cheese flavoured sludge. It's amazing. It's really nice.
Mac and cheese flavoured Huel actually sounds quite appealing, but cheese flavoured sludge is like, it's not right, is it? It's not.
To be fair to Huel, they don't put cheese flavoured sludge on the bag.
Yeah.
They put mac and cheese.
Getting all these adverts of this guy in like a trendy t-shirt with tattoos going, I just wanted a way to eat healthy, so I found this sludge, and it's cheese sludge.
Cheesy sludge.
It's all my vitamins in, and I love it. And they spell cheese with a Z.
With a Z, so that it's vegan friendly.
Yeah, good lads.
You two rate it though. So you two are on the Huel lifestyle.
I thought you were going to say something like you two rate it. Like you're like you two racists.
Yeah, we are racist, but we also like Huel. But no, I fully rate
Chris
it.
and his whitewashed ghosts.
So each scoop is 200 cals, and it makes it really easy. If you're going to have a nice dinner, so in the morning have a little healthy breakfast, have 2 scoops of Huel for lunch, and it's basically like we said, it's like a pot noodle, but full of vitamins and minerals and stuff. Instead of being
probably
like
heroin.
Because a lot of people, I think, if you're going for like protein shakes or like meal replacement shakes, you do miss the act of eating something, right? When you just drink it down.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing, but instead of using like chocolate flavor, they chuck some vegetables and pasta and stuff in it, and beans and all kind of stuff. I've got a Mexican one, which is like beans and quinoa and stuff. So
Chris,
yeah, it's good.
When we get to the stage where you've got even lazier than that, and you are just mixing the powder inside your mouth with just a bit of tap water, like when are we getting to that stage?
Soon we'll get there.
Can't be bothered making this fucking Huel, and you just shoveling it into your mouth and then doing a cement mixer motion with your mouth.
Yeah.
Save time.
Sultan.
Hi.
Hello. Have you got a bit of lore for us this week? Probably should have asked you beforehand instead of putting you on the spot.
Desperately thumbing lexiconum for random articles.
Yeah, I think the only problem is most of the ones I found are about orcs, and I did orcs the other day.
That's right.
When we did the last week.
I forgot that you did orcs, so I'm pretty sure that everybody else has. Don't worry, go for orcs.
I mean, I tell you what I do like. There's this one demon world in the Eye of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when the Eye of Terror was just the Eye of Terror, who knows if it's still there after the Great Rift?
Ooh.
But essentially, a war of orcs landed there and found a bunch of corn demons.
Yes.
You two might know this one.
I know this one. It's great.
But yeah, they have a big scrap with the demons and killed all the demons, but also died to an orc. Everybody died, and Khorne was so like the closest he could get to being Slaanesh and being titillated by it. He was so excited and happy with it. He brought all the orcs and demons back to life to make them fight again. And now every day he brings them back to life. And the orcs think they're in heaven.
Yeah.
They literally think they've died and gone to heaven because they're basically in their version of Valhalla.
Yeah, that's the best thing they could have reached. Yeah, they basically get to fight dead hard opponents all day, every day, and then get up and do it again the next day.
And he even makes it. I imagine he even makes it harder for him. It's like, oh, you fought a bloodthirster last time. This time you get to fight too.
Yeah,
so he brings more in.
Sultan, what's your version of that? What's your version of Valhalla or Khorne Orc theme park? What's your version of that?
Oh, the Las Vegas Open.
It's a river of mac and cheese sludge that you can just swim around in and eat all day.
No, what it is me at the top table in the Las Vegas Open playing my army that's just one unit spammed 2,000 times because they're a point each, and they each get like a wound per minute. And I'm eating some cheese sludge. And you know what I'm doing? My opponent is a small child, and I'm just mercilessly beating them with my tape measure as every time I kill one of their models. And then I win, and they declare me king of the nerds, and that I have the biggest willy, and I win. And then I win life.
Then you have a heart attack, die, wake up, and then you're back at the
and then go
top
again.
table
Yeah.
again.
After a while, I'm sure it gets a bit exhausting, but someone's got to be king,
Someone's
right?
going to kick that small child in the face.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's how I change it up. Like I go from hitting them with a tape measure to just like beating up little Timmy and saying, why you shouldn't have come here? Why are you here?
I think my if I think about Warhammer Nirvana, it would be waking up and playing with all my mates in a tournament. But the thing is, if I had to do not a tournament like an event,
A fucking tournament. We just been at a
I meant an event. But the thing is, if I had to do that every day, I'd wake up after about day 3, and just be like, "Oh, all right, lads. All right,
Fuck this Warsmith Chris guy. He's always bringing fucking Iron Warriors.
Yeah, every time.
We just did that last weekend.
Bloody chaos.
We just did, because we were talking about it the episode before. We did an event, and after day 3, I stayed in the same house as these 2 young gentlemen. And after day 3, I love you both dearly, but fuck me, like that, I was enough.
Yeah, I was gone. I left early. I was like, I've got to go home, and I ended up being honestly so burned out by the weekend. I had to take a sick day.
Yeah, it's savage.
I was so burned out. Just it's not just the weekend. There was a lot of other stuff, but like, yeah, it's just been go with every week at work, every weekend doing something hobby related, as in like for content, and then weekend at Bernie's, and then I just had that Monday. I was just like, I'm sick.
Yeah,
it's because I spent a weekend with Brap. I'm sick.
We ate a lot of red cubes, like bright red cubes of stuff. I ate a lot of bright red cubes.
Yeah.
What was bright red cubes going about? And I didn't get offered any.
You saw me eating bright red cubes. We ordered curry twice in a row. We're disgusting people.
You ordered that.
You ordered it twice in a row.
No,
yeah,
I had leftovers. These lot ordered another curry.
Oh, so you just had old curry?
I had old curry.
We ordered new curry.
That's not any better,
hang on. It is better, because you imagine, right? I had curry left over in the fridge. I was like, right, I'll just eat this. I paid for it. These lot were like, give me more. I'm ordering more, parting with money for more curry.
There were 5 bathrooms in that place, and all of them were fucking.
There was 2 left at the end.
Decimated.
2 left.
Mine was one of them.
Andy Bird is a monster.
Decimated.
Yeah.
Can I just put Chris had like paneer tikka, right? And it was basically just like 2-inch squared cubes of like rock hard halloumi paneer cheese, halloumi style, and he's grinding through them dry, and he looks up to me and Andrew Bird and he goes, "Does anybody want any paneer?" Like, I was like, "Is he gonna die because of cheese overload?"
Why the hell did you not, when you actually ordered that second curry? Why didn't you just take it in, walk straight to the toilet, block up the toilet with that, and just cut out the middle of it?
Because I'm a fat bastard, mate.
That was a horrible.
Big lads need a
It's got to go and be tum tum. Yeah,
we also need to point out that Sultan bought pasta and cheese because he thought he was going to make a lovely pasta dish.
Make a nice carbonara for everyone. It's like, literally, people throughout the day were complaining, saying,
missing quite a few of the ingredients.
My guts hurt. I had cheese. We had bacon, so I was going to use bacon instead of.
Chris, you've got to tell the real reason why you didn't want any, and it's not because of missing ingredients. It's far more fussy.
I had all the ingredients.
It is sad, isn't it? All right, it's because he had the wrong type of pasta for it. Okay,
I did. Yeah, it's because the fucking petrol station. It's the only shop in those parts because it was the back. You know,
my carbonara has got to have tagliatelle or nothing. Get out of here.
I turned around.
I had some conchigli.
I turned around and said, Chris, he's been to a petrol station for pasta, bro. You're lucky we found pasta. Like, this is.
I thought it was pretty good.
I was impressed that you'd got cheese and pasta from a petrol station. Chris was like, "What is that? Shells? Get out of town!"
Yeah. Also, like, I went home, and then that night I made some. Not that night because I was shattered, but the night after when I was feeling better, I made some carbonara using that pasta, and it was delicious. Thank you very much.
All right, good. I believed you. Yeah.
But let's not tell the viewers that I don't like pasta because I ate it.
You just don't eat pasta.
He doesn't like pasta. That's
not the thing. Is, you didn't tell me. Because you didn't tell me initially, because I was like, I might make pasta for everyone. You went, yeah, all right. That's all you said. You were like, that's a nice idea. That's what you said. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I went and made it, and I came back, and Chris was like, I might be in for that. And Brap was like, I don't eat pasta. I was like, why the fuck did you spur me on?
Because I wanted you to all have a nice time. I didn't want my weirdness to... Right, I get into a new job. If I start a new job, right, I turn up and I go, hello, I don't like brews. I don't watch football. And if you want to go further down this road, I don't like pasta. It is a difficult ingredients period.
It's a hard sell, isn't it?
Yeah, but when someone offers you fucking pasta, don't say yeah, all right then.
No. You said I might make pasta later on. Do you think the lads will be up for that? I said yeah, probably. I didn't say yum.
I said will you and the guys be up for that? And you went yeah. That's nice.
I'm not lying to my friend. He can't know that I don't eat pasta.
I didn't. No point did I lie. I'm pretty sure I danced around it and just went.
I only eat the curries.
And also Sultan was pretty pretty on board when he was shoveling chicken tikka korma into his.
Oh yeah, no, I was fine with
into
it.
his
Yeah, it
bowl.
wasn't even chicken tikka. It was just korma. I was just being boring, man. But it's because I didn't want my arse to be on fire the next day.
Yeah, but
because firstly, I was in a small building with you guys all day.
tikka masala's sweet, but chicken korma is just coconut dessert chicken.
Yeah, I don't like it. Coconut dessert chicken.
I
No
like
thanks.
the coconut.
It's like eating a chicken bounty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we need to do a podcast where we basically just go through ways of making all food sound awful. Like
chicken bounty is
bad.
The FineCast at chickenbounty.com.
Cheese sludge, chicken bounty.
Oh no! Now you're gonna have to go register that because if we don't,
I'm not doing it.
I can't do once a month.
Chicken Bounty.
It'll financially ruin me.
Chickenbounty.com.
It'll financially ruin me.
This site can't be reached.
P.S. If you wanted to go on bonemagic.com, I don't know why you would, because if you're already listening to this, then there's not a lot in it for you.
There's nothing on it you can learn.
Look, right, if you're already listening to this, then just do as you're fucking told, all right?
Yeah.
Go to bonemagic.com.
Write some fucking reviews. Listen to it on all platforms. Listen to it multiple times. We might, when we're doing other sorts of stuff, if we ever get merchandise, or we were talking about when we were having this chicken bounty delicious meal, we were talking about the possibility of a giveaway if we make it to a certain number of episodes, which is...
I definitely was not listening to that.
you never listen. Anyway, I kind of like it, Sultan, because we can just get up to our nefarious schemes and go, Sultan's on board.
It's because some lad was asking me to describe the symptoms, and I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on.
About Bart and Lisa. But like, we just describe our nefarious schemes and we go, isn't that right, Sultan? Because he's not listening, he just turns around and goes, yep.
Whatever.
He's just down to clown because he just realised that
do not care.
He can't be arsed listening, but he also realises that if he can't be arsed listening, the price he's got to pay is just to go in agreement with whatever bullshit we come up with. But he's fine with that.
Well, how do you think I became part of the Hobby Apocalypse? Right?
or this podcast.
Let me tell you something.
Anything I do, someone's asked me and I've just gone, what? All right, fine.
Sultan pretends to be Larry.
So speaking of the podcast.
Yeah,
go on.
I was just going to say, Sultan pretends to be Larry, and but I don't care for that. Sultan, back me up on this one, Brap. Sultan is a sweet boy, isn't he? He's the sweetest boy that you can hang out with.
Absolutely and unequivocally not. Sultan is one of the maddest lads I have ever met. He has got he comes across as sweet, but that boy at times has got a heart of pure darkness, and I absolutely love it. He's darker than me. He's darker than you, Chris, with his sense of humour. Wow. But the thing is people don't know it, and you've fallen.
I just want to circle back.
I've fallen for it.
I just want to circle back. I thanks, Chris, for your kind words. Brap, mate, we're gonna have a word after this. But yeah, here's the thing. That side of me only comes out when you just don't do as you're fucking told. Now, podcast listeners, I'm going to tell you what to do. Turns out I'm the real Bossy Boots. Go and follow Warsmith. That's _ Chris.
DZTV.
Underscore Warsmith _ Chris on Instagrams.
Yeah.
Go and follow DZTV _ Burpo Scullions.
Yeah.
DZTV _ Brap Scallion on Instagram.
Barp.
And Brap, who's your friend who did the lovely music?
Yeah, the
lovely lo-fi.
The intro to this and all episodes is by a guy called LA French. If you want to go listen to more lo-fi hip-hop or all sorts of sample goodness, you go to lafrench.bandcamp.com, listen to it, and you can download it and enjoy it.
So, have a fun time.
It's a sexy human being. And you can find me, DZTV _ Sultan on Instagram, or if you so choose on YouTube as Sultan Plays, where I put out mediocre content that's somehow worse than this.
Also, we want to give a big shout out to all the people that are listening, liking, subscribing. That's not what you say for podcasts. Go on bonemagic.com, go on to Apple Music, leave a review. Leave a review of our podcast. Go on Spotify, give it 5 stars. Anyone that leaves reviews, we'll read out. And we've got a 2-time offender. Sergeant Mick 82 wrote a review for the second episode as well as the first episode. So well done, Sergeant Mick. There's nobody else, but you guys need to write reviews. We need to give shout outs.
It's the one guy.
We need to give shout outs. The thing is, if everybody writes a review, then it helps us climb up the greasy pole of the podcast chart.
Brap's penis.
And we can reach more and more people with this inane nonsense chat. So like, comment, review, whatever you do, just spread the word, tell a mate, get them listening to the podcast. If everybody listening to this just sent a little WhatsApp link to a Warhammer group that they're in or something like that saying, check this podcast out, it's a lot of nonsense, but you might like it. It helped loads, and we really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Also, it pays for Brap's surgery that he just so needs.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs to stop reproducing. It just pays. He's finally getting
It
sponsored.
also pays for the bags of cheese sludge delivered to these two doors.
Oh yeah, cheese sludge.
I just fucking drink it.
Bags of powders.
Yeah.
I just drink it. All right, I think that does it for this one because we're just rambling about that delicious cheese.
Cheese sludge.
Thanks so much, everybody. That was another. that was another episode of the FineCast. Thank you so much for coming along, and we probably won't see you again because that was bloody terrible. But we love you. Bye.
Bye. I love you.